4wrestling.com. This is Bill Apter. Welcome into the alley, Apter's Alley. It's great to have you back here again. And for the first time ever, I have a guest here in the actual Apter's Alley. And he picked up this book called Heroes and Icons. Stephen Johnson and Greg Oliver are the editors here. They wrote the book, actually, with Mike Mooneyhan, and forward by J.J. Dillon. Yeah, that one. And I'm curious to see now. The guy knocked on my door, came down, started reading the book. Steve Johnson? No. Mike Mooneyhan? No. It's not J.J. Dillon. Got to be Greg Oliver. Greg Oliver, welcome to Apter's Alley.
Hi, everyone.
Great to have you here.
Thanks for having me down, Bill.
And congratulations on the book.
It's a lot of love. It's 376 pages of wrestling.
Yeah, and what does it take to write a book of this length?
A lot of time. This one, it's really the accumulation of like 27 years of writing about wrestling. Steve Johnson and I did the tag team book back about 2005, and since that time we always had in mind we were going to do a heroes book and a heels book. We did the heels book back in 2007.
Great book. I've got a copy of that, autographed by him.
And this one, everybody kept asking, when are you going to do the next one? When you do the next one? We really do think this is like the pinnacle of what wrestling writing can be. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but Steve and I really went out of our ways, and we wonderful compliments when you talk to the guys who actually are in the book, or wrestlers who know the guys in the book and figure that we captured them.
Sure.
It's a great feeling. If you write 2,000 words about Dusty Rhodes and somebody says, man, you really captured him, that tells you you did something okay.
See, wonderful Willie can capture Dusty Rhodes in the voice, but maybe not in the words, if you will. Tell us, most authors all have one chapter that they worked on that they say, boy, this is my favorite chapter in the book. Do you have a favorite chapter?
Oh, God. Well, there's about 100 profiles of different guys that go from like the 1930s up to the recent guys. And, a great example is CM Punk. We put CM Punk on the cover. It's heroes and icons. And we needed a way to get guys like Bruiser Brody in that were icons. They weren't really heroes. They weren't really bad guys, but they're very iconic. And so I really like what we did, even with ones like The Rock and Punk. Punk wasn't actually going to be in the book. And then then we got this picture. And it's an awesome picture of him actually winning the title. And I think, you know what, if I'm being honest, I think Vince McMahon heard that we put him on the cover and turned him heel just before the book came out.
Wow. Is that right?
Yeah. But that is one of my favorite things I did in there. I certainly liked writing about guys like Sweet Daddy Siki and Tiger Jeet Singh, these guys that we all know the names of, but we don't know a lot about.
I grew up actually watching some of those greats like Siki and Tiger Jeet Singh, and I always loved going through these books and reading about things that I remember and new things that you learn by reading a book like this.
Well, and we've always tried to, bring in where they came from, how they got to be who they were, and almost as importantly, what happened to them.
Yeah.
Because in a lot of cases, they may have drifted away from wrestling. Like there's, a big section of Billy Darnell. Well, he was a huge star, and then he ended up being a chiropractor because he got hurt so many times wrestling. Like, that's a neat story.
Billy Darnell, when I was a little kid and I first started watching wrestling, he was always a surprise opponent in wrestling against Nature Boy Buddy Rogers, and he always pinned Buddy Rogers in non-title matches. Always. But when the title was on the line, Rogers always found a way to pull it out and keep the title.
Well, we always talk about the clique and more recent guys, how they all band together. Well, I mean, Buddy Rogers was the first of that, right? He had his guys, and Sweet Daddy Siki was one of his guys for a while.
Yeah.
Others were, Darnell, and he had Handsome Johnny Barend, and they would travel place to place.
Sure.
And he would always wrestle them because then he knew he would be protected.
Yes.
And it's just a very unique thing. And we talk about, we forget a lot of wrestling history. And that's what we're really trying to capture.
That's
this
great.
Is that,
that's great.
You don't have John Cena if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan. You don't have Hulk Hogan if it wasn't for a Jim Londa.
Sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's very good thinking. A lot of people forget that, it's those people who laid the tracks down to get all the way where we are. And now we're going to talk about it because we just talked about it all the way up to Ryback. So the controversy going on here on our website. And by the way, I want to plug a great website, Slam Wrestling. You're the
Technically, I'm the producer.
the
Yeah.
producer of Slam Wrestling, but you have some great articles on there, and our viewers here on OneWrestling.com, please make sure you go over to Slam Wrestling and check out Greg and all the other great people that write for them. So the controversy right now that we've got going on that we're talking about is Ryback. My opinion on this thing, Greg, is that it's creating a buzz. There are people young enough or that who weren't wrestling fans back when Goldberg was Bill Goldberg. So this is something new. This is something exciting. To me, if there's a buzz going on, it can't be wrong.
I totally agree. The question is, what do they do? That's why we tune in, right?
Yeah.
What are they going to do? Who knows? Maybe they end it with a Dolph Ziggler running in. You just don't know, and that's what makes it exciting. Maybe that's how they get out of not having Ryback pinned, and they bring in a Dolph Ziggler with the Money in the Bank. Who knows?
See, we're talking about this again.
And exactly, it's Ryback. Yeah. 2 months ago, would you think Ryback would be in this position?
No, absolutely not. That's what we were talking about. And people say, well, he blew this spot against Tenzai and all. And that, to me, that doesn't matter. What matters is are people. It's not about the smart fans. It's what matters are the people interested and buying what they're being fed by the WWE and enjoying it. And when you look at the reaction that you can see on Monday Night Raw, they love it. Feed me more.
And how long will it last? We don't know that either, right? And that was part of our challenge with the book, right? A guy like Ultimate Warrior, he peaked and it was gone.
Yeah.
So we didn't include him in the book.
Sure.
But there are a lot of guys like that. That's the whole idea of history,
Sure.
In the grand scheme of things, did they matter? Goldberg, we didn't put in the book. Goldberg was one of the most over athletes of all time.
Absolutely.
But, that reign didn't last. He came back in the WWF there, and it didn't mean the same thing. It
was a different Goldberg at that point, and it was a different thing. Tell everybody right now, look out there and tell everybody where they can get a copy of this terrific book.
Well, absolutely. Heroes and Icons and the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, the tag teams, Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, the heels, and the Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, the Canadians, all available on Amazon. And in this day and age, it's hard to compete. They have far better shipping rates than I can ever do with a book that's this big and this heavy. But there's other places, Barnes & Nobles, your local bookstore will order any book for you. Please remember that, folks. Your local bookstore needs your support. Go down there. If there's a book you want, you know what? They'll order it in. And chances are they'll order in a couple books by the same author from the same publisher. And you never know. That might help keep that local bookstore in business.
Greg Oliver, thank you for dropping by in Apter's Alley.
Thank you for having me in.
Oh, it was a pleasure. And, you got to go through the corridor and find your way out of here, but we're glad you found your way in. This is Bill Apter, Greg Oliver, and as always, we'll see you at the matches. It's okay. You can put it right over there.